This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's Friday, October 9th, 2020, and it's the Relevant Podcast. In Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Austin, Texas, author, podcaster, Jamie Ivey.
Hello, guys.
And from Nashville, Tennessee, artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
Let me hold some, pimp.
All right, now we have a great show in store for you, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I got, everybody knows we're recording on Zoom, and in front of me right now is a grid of these wonderful people. I'm looking at the cast of the Relevant Podcast in their natural habitats. Have to comment before we get the show going, noticing two things about Jamie. Two things. First, she's wearing big glasses today. Have I ever seen you wear glasses before?
Well, I have these glasses. They're the blue blockers. They're supposed to help me when I'm in front of my computer all day. But when I was in elementary school, I wore fake glasses for a long time. Anyone else? I did.
So are these like Russell Westbrook glasses with no lenses, fake glasses? Are they the wrong prescription fake glasses?
Like when I was in elementary school?
Yeah.
No, I just got glasses that just had no prescription. I just wanted glasses so bad. This was before I had them, obviously, because then I got them and wish I didn't.
Yeah.
But I was young.
I was legally blind in third grade.
It's like walking with a limp, but your ankle doesn't hurt. You just want...
Guys, it's a fashion statement.
Yeah, like I said, Russell Westbrook, he wears, he's the most fashionable man in maybe all of American pro sport.
That's to be debated.
I'm going to say.
I'm going to put Cam Newton above Russell.
PJ Tucker's probably got the best vibe.
How about most eccentrically dressed? Cam has got the hat game and the scarves and mascots and stuff.
Cam Newton look like a black auntie.
Cam Newton,
Auntie Cam.
I don't feel like there's anything wrong with wearing glasses for fashion reasons. I know, Jamie, you said these are blue blockers, but even if you were to say, I just felt like going with glasses today. Like when Westbrook does it, he doesn't even wear lenses. Like it's just frames, and it's okay. And they're red and they're cool. They're stylistically, they're a lot like the ones you're wearing right now, Jamie. They just look cool. I totally get it. If I didn't,
I'm here for it.
My look changes dramatically as soon as I put glasses on. And that's why, I couldn't pull off the no lenses because no one would know. Because I feel like as soon as you put glasses on, you look about 20% more like intellectual, not necessarily 20% smarter.
That is fact.
But mine, for some reason, if I put glasses on, I go down about 25, 30% intellectual. They're like, that guy doesn't look right in glasses.
I've been wearing prescription glasses since the first grade.
First grade.
My eyes.
And it sucked because Steve Urkel was coming to coming into his own. Family Matters was a big thing. So literally I was Urkel all of elementary school.
My son's been wearing glasses since he was like 4.
My son too.
Mine was college. My eyes turned in college. Like I remember I went to this one Bennigan's all the time, and I remember looking at the sign on the building across the street, and it was blurry, and I was like, that's new. And so I went and got my eyes checked. Sure enough, apparently it turns out trees have leaves. I just thought they were just kind of soft little green balls.
Okay, I would say this: the other place it's acceptable to wear prescription or eyewear that's non-prescription is if you go play pickup basketball, and here's why. Anyone that's wearing goggles or glasses with like that kind of strap in the back that hold them on your face, people know if that guy's on the court, give him room because it's all elbows and knees. That guy is going to lay out. If a ball is just barely, it's probably going out of bounds. He's diving straight up into the rec center bleachers to throw it back onto the court. That guy's taking cheap shots. That guy's mixing things up. It sends a clear message. You don't need to like wear them for eye protection. You just need to send a message to the court like, I'm just letting you guys know. You get down on the block with me. Things are going to get dirty. Someone's walking out of here with a bloody nose.
He's wearing those because he's been poked in the eye from all his tussles. They're probably not in prescription.
Right. He leads face first. Yeah, he gets into tussles face first. It's a very bold strategy.
And I was going to say he's wearing every headband and wristband you can find. 100%. Every last one.
If you're playing any pickup sport, this goes flag football, this goes. Pick up basketball, softball. This is a big rule in softball.
Yeah.
If any player out there has more than 2 braces on, like one knee, one elbow, 2 knees is the worst sign. Like that guy's going hard, way too hard. There's a reason they got 2 braces on. They're coming sliding head first into, the catcher is standing there over the plate. They're blowing them up, just like totally uncalled for. Like it's like the old deacon from the church in the church league playing catcher, and all of a sudden the maniac, millennial pastor wearing 2 knee braces and an elbow pad comes round in third, drops the shoulder, and just lays out old deacon. That's how you play. If the guy with multiple braces is coming down the pipe, just give him rope.
Get out of the way.
It's funny you said that because there was this guy on my basketball team, big white guy. He looked like he had failed maybe 3 grades, and he had 2 knee braces. And they literally just put him in to foul.
Yeah, exactly.
It was to foul and get rebounds. That was his job. Don't shoot. Don't do nothing. Just foul. The best player on the team.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's crazy you said.
Well, it's true. And if I was a coach, I would say go Ostertag that guy. Just Ostertag him right now. And just like Greg Ostertag, giant white guy body, just nailing everybody in the lane. All right, you're good. Come on out. We'll wait to send you back. It's basically the basketball or equivalent of a hockey goon. It's
literally his job. That's crazy.
All right. Well, the second thing that I'm noticing about Jamie by looking at the Zoom grid here is you're a little pixelated. So it got the big glasses, but you're a little pixelated. I'm wondering if you need to roll the shed a little bit closer to the main house where the router is.
The whole tiny house.
Yeah,
Jamie,
that's my tech advice.
Can I ask you a question about the studio tiny house? Because I think it's incredible and it looks
incredible. She's got a studio shed. That is awesome.
Was it custom built, or did you have a trailer and you guys kind of like, what was it? Was it the original intention of the tiny house to be a tiny house, or did you retrofit like a pre-existing kind of structure?
It was an original tiny house. We bought it as is from a tiny house company.
Okay, cool. Because I have a backyard shed, old school style, concrete slab, nothing fancy. Right now, it just holds like pool floats and Christmas lights, and for some reason, it's terrifying to go into. Like, it's absolutely terrifying. But I had somebody on Facebook, during quarantine, a lot of people are trying to figure out the virtual thing and, recording podcasts all the time and doing stuff like that. It's like, dude, that setup would be really cool, to have like that. So I went out to the shed the other day just to kind of be like, well, what would I be in for? Just hypothetically, if I were to go like she shed, home office.
He shed in your situation.
Yeah, but she sheds are just way nicer than he sheds.
Yeah, a lot more pillows.
He sheds are what I currently have, which is basically
the scary, dark, holding the pool toys and the Christmas lights.
And basically a breeding ground for murder hornets. And so I went in there. So I went like they're wondering where the murder hornets came from. There's too many he sheds around that are just mutating crazy hornets. But so I went in there to scope it out and I was like, I think who knows? I don't do my little chip gains in here. And all of a sudden in the corner, I see a gigantic hornet's nest. Okay. And this, it caused an issue because like, I've realized like we have very few options that are off the shelf to take care of a problem like this. Like I went to the hardware store and I bought this spray, right? And you spray it into the hornet's nest and it's supposed to kill them all. Right. And so, but in my mind, I'm like, look, if I just go in there, my aim has to be pretty, what if they start flying out? Am I going to zap them out of the sky? Right. Like how long does it take to kill them? Like, is it instantaneous if they just...
It depends on the brand. As a Floridian, hornets are pretty much everywhere. Well, but it depends on the brand. Some of them are like, boom, done. And then some of them are like, they look at you and they're wet and they're mad. Yeah. And then they come after you.
You quite literally kick the hornet's nest. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the back of that shed and I know what's going to happen. I'm going to start spraying and they have me trapped in their lair and I'm going to be tangled in Christmas lights, just getting stung, that's the dangers of the he-shed. So I had to like clear a path and I did a lot of premeditation. Okay, and I rehearsed it a couple times. I'll spray, turn this way, jump over that bin through the gate because I was like, what if they just chase me? Let me say this. they do chase you, and they chase you a long time. It's not like I'll just run out in the yard and they'll stop chasing me. I'm running down the block with hornets, just firing blindly the spray. There's got to be a better way. They have to, like, I'm going to Shark Tank this, okay? Like, there's got to be some like bowl or something that you just place it over the hornet's nest and hit a button and it just like kind of gasses them or something. The spray is terrible. All you're doing is irritating them. What? There's got to be, guys. Am I
there
wrong?
should be a trap or something. Like make a trap where they fly into it and then it's like it traps them in there.
They're too wily.
You want to know what's worse than spray is you trying to wrap a bowl around a hornet's nest. That's
no good.
That's about the worst
I'm
idea.
workshopping here, Derek. all right, hey,
that is death.
All right,
is what that is.
Derek, this goes to everyone except for you. I'm willing to offer a 20% equity stake in my company for an investment of $15,000 in contact with a cool bowl guy.
The hornet death bowl is what you gonna call it.
I'm out.
In Florida, they'll go up in our like the eaves of the house, like at the beginning of the summer and stuff like that. And kind of, I need to go around the house and zap them all. There are brands, Jesse, that is just like instant. I mean, boom, boom, they just drop to the ground.
Yeah,
and you're good. But the worst is like the ones that are like really high up, and you got to get like under it. And you're spraying, and then like all the poison is just raining back down on you.
Like you would have been better off to just get stung because now you just are poisoned.
I had
just drenched in poison,
toxic poison in my eyes. No, next time I'm going to fill like an old super soaker, like the squirt guns, and just go in like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando, just spraying the whole shed. I think. So
are you gonna renovate it? Are you gonna insulate and put in floors and lights?
Oh no! There's hornets in there. Heck no!
Well, you can get them out.
Do you not just hear me say there's hornets? And I don't think I got them.
I would take on that project. I like stuff like that.
We have a salt gun in our. Have you ever had a salt gun for flies?
No.
Salt.
I've heard of those. Yeah,
I've heard of potato guns.
So we have
salt guns.
It sounds like an assault. It's SALT. I'm going to send y'all a picture after the show. It's in our house. We use it for flies. If a fly gets in, you take that. But my children have also used it on each other, and it'll leave a massive whelp to get shot with the salt
I'm going to
gun.
buy a salt gun right now because it sounds amazing. When I was a kid, my buddy down the street, he was into like science and stuff, and I was into mischief. And so we combined our forces. And this was like early on in the internet. This is dial-up time. And of course we were like, hey dude, because at that time, when you're a kid, you just hear about stuff. You don't really even know, and so I feel like people don't realize what it's like to not just be able to Google anything you want. But we're like, dude, we heard potato guns are like really cool. And have you guys ever played with a potato gun?
No.
Nah, bro.
It is shocking how powerful this is. So like it's really easy to create. So you have a PVC pipe and you cap one end. And I'm trying to remember all the steps. Again, my nerdy science friend did all the hard work. I shot it. And so you cap a PVC pipe on one end. You got to have a hole for like a spark plug. So you pull a trigger and it shoots a spark. You just spray a whole bunch of hairspray in there and jam a potato or something in the end. The first shot was against like a chimney just to see like there. And we shot, it wasn't a potato. It was just some vegetable. Obliterate, like there was nothing left of this vegetable. Like if you were to shoot a human with it, it would be the worst way to die ever, but it would be a potentially fatal potato shot. We shot one just in the air just to see. And it was a very heavily suburban. I lost sight. It was gone. Somewhere that potato landed. Potato guns
in orbit.
I'm just saying right now, even as an adult, it's making me want to rebuild a potato gun. And it solves my hornet problem. I'll just go in the corner and there will not be a hornet left after I blast them with a giant potato at 500
you just have
feet
a
a
bunch
second.
of pissed off hornets that you blew their nest up. Then they're gonna run after you. The John Wick of hornets.
My only reference to a potato gun is The Office, where it was like that security or the fight happened or whatever, and they talked to Dwight afterwards, and he's like, the security of this office is a joke. I come into my desk every day carrying a potato gun, and imagine if I was deranged.
I'm telling you, they are insanely powerful and awesome. Cameron, it'd be a great project for you and Cohen. You'd easily blast it across the entire lake. I'm no lie. Like,
you said it's hairspray?
Hairspray. I mean, when I was a kid, that's what we did. And a spark, all you need is hairspray, a spark plug, and a PVC pipe, and some potatoes.
Gosh.
And dude,
It sounds like a terrible
idea.
All right, well, moving the show along. Coming up later, we talk to pastor, author, leader of men, one of my heroes and mentors, Rick Warren. It's a crazy season right now. People are up in arms about politics, obviously all the unrest in our country, COVID. And we thought, who better to talk to than Pastor Rick? He's one of the wisest Christian leaders I know, and is usually a calming voice in the middle of a storm. So that's coming up later. What's interesting is you're going to hear about 10 minutes of it. I think we're going to play mainly the clip talking about the election, but there's so much more that we covered from racial justice to COVID and the church. Clark and I are working it out. I'm thinking we might do a special one-off, bring it back for one time, first time in a year, episode of Unedited, and run the full 45-minute conversation for you guys. It's worth listening to. It's going to challenge you, minister to you. It's really unreal. So you're going to hear part of that coming up later, but we're going to do some more with it, and we'll let you know. Follow us on social. We'll tell you about it. All right, well, stay tuned. Up next, it's the Hot List. You're listening to Dreamer Boy. Song is Know You. Well, this episode is brought to you by Samaritan Ministries. Let's be honest, talking about health insurance is not something anyone really likes to do. It can be confusing with lots of jargon. Plus, who really knows what it's actually going to take care of? That's why Samaritan Ministries is a healthcare option you should consider. It's not insurance. It's Christians sharing healthcare costs and encouraging one another when there's a medical need. Here's how it works. You choose your healthcare provider. Medical bills are sent to Samaritan Ministries. They notify members to pray and send you money for your shareable bills. The money received is used to pay your medical bills. Healthcare sharing is biblical and affordable. Samaritan members directly share healthcare costs with other members, and the cost for an individual can be as low as $75 a month. You can join Samaritan Ministries any time of year. Why not today? Samaritan members know that when an illness or injury happens, fellow members are there to support them. Learn more at samaritanministries.org/relevant podcast. That's a long one. samaritanministries.org/relevant podcast. All right, well, it's time that we welcome to the show our senior editor, Tyler Huckabee, to bring us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture. Now, before we play the jingle, I want to tell you some news. This is the last Hot List.
Oh,
if you
wow.
notice on the site, this week we launched a new video and podcast series, Relevant News. Mm-hmm. So Relevant Daily has evolved to Relevant News, and it's now in video. It's on our YouTube, it's on Facebook, and all the other things. And we thought in this evolution where we're covering what's happening today, Relevant News, pun intended, this is Relevant News, that this segment should probably fall in line with that and connect a little more deeply. We thought it was weird this year. When we did the jingle, it was silly news. It was like, this is some funny, cool stuff that's happening. Not exactly the vibe for 2020, right? Uh-huh. So it was really weird that we would be like, hey, everybody, the Hot List, it's sizzling. And then like a pastor died. Like it's just like, oh man, and not a good vibe.
It's a rebrand.
So next week, we're going to do this pretty much same segment, but we're going to have a new name, a new little opener for it.
It is crazy. We've been having to do some crazy pivots from that jingle.
Yeah.
That's for
It's like this happy jingle comes in. It's like, hey, guys, the whole world exploded.
Yeah.
You're like,
it's the Hot List sizzling. And now up, a mega church pastor is in prison. What do you got?
All right, here it is for the last time. It's time for...
It's the Hot List. The Hot List. It's sizzling.
All right, right. What do you have, Tyler?
The first thing I wanted to talk about today, this has come up a few times, but the day is finally upon. Friday is the day that a movie we've had our eye on for a long time, faith-based, is finally going to be available on demand for people. This is, of course, the story of two lovable losers who hatched a plan to make a quick buck off of Christians when they realized that making a successful Christian movie doesn't require you to be much of a Christian or even much of a filmmaker. So faith-based stars Luke Barnett, Tanner Thomason, Margaret Cho, David Koechner, Lance Reddick, Jason Alexander. We checked out the trailer a couple weeks back, and it's a real hoot. We watch our heroes, Luke and Tanner, try to figure out how to make their movie called A Prayer in Space, which is a movie about the first prayer to ever be prayed in outer space. I got a chance to see the movie and talk to a couple of people involved, and I wanted to play you a clip of a conversation I had here. This is a conversation I had with a guy named Vince Michelli. He co-wrote this and directed the movie, and we talked a little bit about, Jesse, I think you probably remember the conversation that happened early on when the movie was announced, when it made an appearance on Fox and Friends. And based on the one sentence teaser of what this movie was about, I would say Fox and Friends was less than excited about the movie.
Yeah, because the movie is an attack on the very fundamentals that our founding fathers, they guaranteed us we would not be made fun of, Tyler. Christians will not be made fun of. That's part of the Constitution, man. There's a war. Someone made a joke about
Jesus said you will be hated, you'll be persecuted, but nobody will make fun of you.
Yeah, exactly. But that's off limits. Yeah. Maybe because, Tyler, their background is that both of them, from my understanding, or at least one of the filmmakers, you can correct me if I'm wrong, grew up in the church and actually is pretty fond. It has, a very kind of nuanced, interesting relationship with faith and Christianity itself. Yes. But it's more of Christians who, that sometimes profiteer off of, kind of people
Christian
within the church. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And that's sort of you're getting ahead of me, Jesse.
I'm sorry.
We'll go ahead. I asked Vince what he would tell the cast of Fox if they, which they have not yet, asked him on to share his side of the story. And I thought his answer was interesting. Here's what he said.
If I was to go on Fox or Fox and Friends or talk to anybody at Breitbart, I think the first thing I'd want to say is, have you guys seen the movie? And if you have, what do you have to say now? Because I think they'd be eating their words a little bit, just because they, it's clear that they just wanted a clickbaity headline. And if you go into the comment threads of any of those articles, you can see exactly what they wanted to do, because the comments are even worse than the articles. And they just wanted people to kind of be up in arms about, some liberal Hollywood hacks bashing Christianity, which is like not at all what we're doing in the movie, that we had no desire to do that. We just kind of wanted to comment on, we really wanted to comment on faith-based films and that the culture around that, and really more, if you've seen the movie, we're really talking more about a couple guys trying to find their purpose, and making fun of anyone who believes in anything blindly is kind of the biggest stab we take at anything. And that should be pretty straightforward. Nobody should be upset by that.
Tyler, a question. So George Costanza's in it. Right. Who's the guy?
You'll see Lance Reddick if you've seen the John Wick movies. Lance Reddick runs that. Well, he's in The Wire, obviously, but he also is in charge of the hotel that John Wick goes to, and who watches the dog. He's a great actor. It's cool to see him.
The road salesman from The Office. What's his name?
Oh, David Koechner.
No, what's the character?
Yeah. Oh, the guy's name.
Bob Vance.
What is
that him?
No, that's Vance
Not
Refrigeration.
Vance.
Oh, yeah.
Todd Packer.
I'm blanking.
Jim's like,
Todd
who
Packer.
has two thumbs and
Todd
hates-
Packer.
Todd Packer.
Todd Packer. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Todd Packer. Yeah, Todd Packer is in it.
Tyler, I'm going to be honest. When I stopped listening to that clip almost immediately, I've made up my mind about this. This latest export from Hollyweird. No.
That's what's so infuriating about certain parts of media. It's like they're commenting and upset about something they haven't even seen. It's just like, come on, engage it thoughtfully, have commentary. Now, Tyler, you've seen it. Is it funny? Is it good?
We'll do a full review on the site. We will.
All right.
We'll give you the full. So I want to tease it. I want to say here's the one thing that I'll tease about it that I'm willing to say right now is that there is a scene in which everybody goes to a very great satire of like a hip, cool white church out on the West Coast, in which they sing a made up praise and worship song that apparently was written by a comedy troupe out there, and I thought I was going to lose my mind. The scene is worth the price of admittance by itself. That's all I'll say for the time being. But I would definitely recommend it. If nothing, and I'm told there's actually maybe going to be a music video released independently for just that. And so if that comes out, then we'll absolutely have it on the site.
All right. What else you got?
So there was a new study that came out from the folks over at Lifeway that had a lot of interesting things to it, but I really wanted to focus in on just one part of it. Lifeway Research doing some polling about the upcoming election here, trying to find out where Christians are going to vote. Not a whole lot of surprises. The majority of Christians, especially white evangelicals, still very much in the tank for the president. A few more evangelicals planning on voting for Biden than were planning on voting for Hillary Clinton at the same point in 2016 as in 2020, but not a whole lot of surprises by my lights in there. One thing that I did find interesting that I wanted to get you all's take on was the question they asked about who you hope your presidential vote benefits. In other words, when you vote, who are you voting for? Where are you thinking this vote is going to be helpful for?
Like, are you hoping that the administration will affect the greater good or you personally?
The nation, your family.
Are you thinking about the next generation with like Social Security?
Exactly.
And all that?
The future, the environment, whatever.
Right.
So this is all that Lifeway covered with this particular question was about U.S. voters with evangelical beliefs, right? So these are people who affirm the four tenets of evangelicalism as Lifeway defines them. Of these, the overwhelming majority, 41%, say that. Well,
41 is not a majority.
Let me say the largest chunk of the poll, the largest section, the overwhelmingly largest section at 41% says people nationwide who are like me. In other words, when these people vote, they are thinking in terms of how is this going to benefit people like me? 20% say me and my family. So all told, that's 61% who primarily are thinking in terms of themselves, their family, and other people like them.
Wow.
You have 15% who say people our country has failed, 9% who are thinking in terms of people nationwide who are different from me, and 8% are thinking in terms of people in my community. So not just me and people who are like me, but people in my local level. And then 7% say they're not sure. I don't know about you guys, but for me, that kind of helps a lot of things click into place and got me reflecting on my own vote and how I'm thinking there.
61% of Christians, evangelicals, say that they're basically voting to benefit themselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not thinking in terms of people who maybe have been left behind by the country or even just people who aren't like them. There's a very clear dividing line there.
It's like sad, but not surprising. You know, though there's a lot of rhetoric about like, you know, we're going to lose things and things are going to be taken away. And we've got to stand for what is ours instead of, you know, the 14% who said they're voting for someone or the people that our country has left behind. I think it's a sad reality. But I also think that those people will be like, well, what's wrong with that? Like, there's nothing wrong. This is what I get to do.
Sure.
I don't think that's like, for me, I'm like, yeah, that is America though, right? I think we have to maybe I've just come to grips with that a little earlier, but it's like, this isn't surprising. I don't know if it's even sad because I'm just kind of like, yeah, America is about go get yours for yourself. It's not about go help people.
Yeah,
like,
it's you and your tribe benefiting.
That's it.
It's that majority versus minority mindset. It's not the greater. It's not others. It's about how I can protect what I have. And
any moment you start talking about helping others that are less fortunate, then now they throw the socialism tag on you.
Right.
Like, so that's what it is. It's like the idea of saying, hey, we should help these people because they're underrepresented in our country, and usually when they are represented, they're represented in a bad way. It's like, but that's socialism.
And I don't know if it'll make this the edit on this, but that's something Rick Warren talked about. That he said it wasn't until after I had gone to 2 Christian universities and seminaries that I realized that the Bible talked about the poor over 1,000 times, and like I had to like learn the theology that the Bible actually advocates for, is that we are supposed to be selflessly living for others. And that's what the Christian life is about. 1,000 verses about the poor. And so his whole life has been, how do we help lift people systemically out of those patterns? How do we, so it's transformative to your worldview if you actually read the Bible and apply it to your politics.
What about the famous what about the famous verse, God helps those who help themselves? I mean, I've been framing much of my behavior out of the understanding that was in the Bible. Wait, it is like
nowhere to be found.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about you all, but a lot of in my own in my Bible college, there was a lot of, I don't think they would say it quite like this, but there was a lot of kind of implied references to, well, he meant like poor as a state of mind, like not like necessarily financially poor, but like kind of spiritually poor. That's it was disgusting. Like, we don't think about like it was the idea was that it was sort of they had a poor energy to them. I don't know what like humble or not proud. You have to do a lot of dancing. To live the American dream and take those verses seriously. You have to jump around a lot.
The crazy part about the Bible, and I'll tell you for one, I'm not a socialist. Like, I'm not a socialist.
Yeah, you're an entrepreneur and mogul.
Yeah, there's no way I could be a socialist and do what I do. But if you look at the scriptures and look at, like, people would call Jesus, or even the Most High, they would call Yahweh a socialist. Because, I mean, even when you look at laws that would say you couldn't reap off of the edges of your field. You had to leave the edges of your field for the poor and for the traveler. People in America, if you were to tell people that, hey, you can't make as much money as you want, you have to take a certain amount of it and set it aside for people that are traveling and that people that are poor, they would call you a socialist. But that's literally a biblical scripture and a system that the Lord has set up.
When we talk about the immigration debate, that's the thing that baffles me. It's like this, like, nationalism, walls up, don't let people in. But the Bible talks about give 10% of your crop, 10% of your land to aliens, to the immigrants come passing through. It's like, how do you rectify that? I mean, this is your religion. This is your scripture. And then you're building walls around your land. I mean, it's like, it doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. It was
poor
when you start looking at
what?
Nah, that's hilarious. That's actually disgusting, because I'm like, you can't be that smart and read the Bible as much as these people do and come to that conclusion without having an ulterior motive, like without greed sucking away at the truth, because like that's a very physical thing to tell someone, like, hey. And also saying you have to let your crops rest for a year. You can plant crops for 6 years, but for 1 year, you have to let whatever grows out of that field grow, and anyone can come to that field and get what they want. Like Americans would call that socialism, but that was laws that were set up by God himself. So I'm like, you would literally call God, the idea that God is a capitalist is in a lot of Christians' mind. And I'm like, that's not true. Capitalism is something that we do as Americans, but that's not a God thing.
There's a lot of, things that, would be very troubling if you tried to, well, one, I think, kind of these broad political and economic terms, like socialism or capitalism or there's more nuance, there's hybrids of everything when it comes to services that, governments provide to people, and where does, a line between these terms come? But if people were serious about applying what the Bible says to everyday American life, there's some incredibly difficult Exodus. If you lend money to any of my people, who is poor. You shall not be like a money lender to them, and you shall not exact interest from them. The Bible has multiple, I think probably over a dozen verses about interest and not charging people interest. I mean, the entire framework of our economic system is based on a principle that the Bible says not to do. Now, am I saying, look, I'm not against like finance or credit cards or what, but I am saying, how seriously do we want to take the Bible here? Because if we want to go down that path, it has some serious implications for the social, economic, and political system that we've established. Now,
it's what we mean when we say the Bible transcends politics, right?
Yeah.
We mean that you can find elements of socialism, of capital, of whatever you want, but it's not in the middle. It transcends. It's above all of these, and that's why people who say they follow the Bible should do the same thing, while being fully aware that we live in a world that just isn't going to always play by those rules, and that's okay. They don't have to. Why would they? But we do.
We should.
Yeah, I think the problem is because a lot of Christians don't study the Old Testament. Like what Paul says is, Paul says that the law, Moses' law, is a schoolmaster. An idea of it teaches us how to understand who God is, his character, what he likes, what he hates. And when you start to study that through a cultural lens, you realize that the Lord like we say this all the time when we think of Jesus, is how much the Lord loves us. He sent his son to die on the cross. But we don't think about how much the Lord loves us, that when you look through the Old Testament, most of the Old Testament is about him loving his people in spite of them not loving him. Like, he set up laws for a nation that was like, yo, don't just take advantage of the poor. Don't hold debts over people's head longer than 7 years. Like, think about that. Like, think about if after 7 years, all of us were freed from our debts. What that would do would do one or two things. One, people wouldn't run the debt up so high on you because they know they couldn't keep you for an eternity. So they'd give you a fair price for what you're supposed to pay for. And then number two, you would know if you made a bad decision, you wouldn't be stuck in that decision for the rest of your life. Like, just basic things like that. Like, when you look at it, it's like, wow, like the Lord really does care about us. And it's not just on a spiritual level. It's actually on a human level. And I think if we got back to that, which is, okay, yeah, I could definitely charge somebody triple what this is worth, and they may be dumb enough to take it, but the Lord's character would say I shouldn't do that, and I should deal with people in equal weights. And I think Christians have, in today's society, we've put so much effort into politics and financial gain that we've missed the most important thing of what Jesus actually came for, and that's people.
I wonder if the 7-year forgive debt thing is why your credit score goes up after 7 years.
I think so.
Because it's like,
I think so.
You have bankruptcy or you have bad something on your credit report, 7 years later, it's just gone. So it's scriptural.
You're a Jubilee. Yeah.
Yep.
There you
You're
go.
a Jubilee.
All right, Tyler, what's the last thing?
One last story, and this is a weird one. We're going to get a little bit relevant after dark here. So put the kids to bed.
It's the hot list. It's the hot list. We gotta set the hot list off with a
It's
bang.
sizzling.
I'm gonna read this story, and this caused some chatter on our site when I posted this yesterday. I wasn't even sure I was going to post it, but glad I did.
But here
We're
we
gonna
are.
talk about the upcoming, as you may have heard, Amazon Prime is working on their own TV series on Lord of the Rings. This is going to be the most expensive TV show ever made. They bought the rights, just to be legally able to make it, $250 million. So this show is going to be
Before any production.
Nothing besides
Let's
that's
go.
just to sign the dotted line. It's 250 minutes. So they're working on it, right? So
Let's go.
So this show is in the works. They're filming it right now in New Zealand, and there's been some new reports that suggest this is not going to be your grandma's Lord of the Rings. All right, this is not going to be your J.R.R. Tolkien. Your pastor's not going to be wanting to pull a lot of metaphors out of this one for his Sunday morning series, and I'll tell you why. It's because this Lord of the Rings is going to feature nude scenes and possibly sex scenes, based on some fan sleuthing information. A Lord of the Rings fan site found some casting calls stipulating that actors who've been cast should be comfortable with nudity. Different casting calls said they will need nude people aged 18 plus, all shapes and sizes, because, you know, dwarves and elves and hobbits, there's all shapes and sizes in Middle Earth. And they've also hired an intimacy coordinator. This is sort of a new job in Hollywood, a post Me Too era job, where they bring in an intimacy coordinator to make sure that people on set aren't being forced by filmmakers to do anything they're not comfortable doing, anything that's outside of their contract, that they feel safe with whatever scenes they're being asked to do, particularly intimate ones. So that's the situation.
It's like Game of Thrones.
Lord of the Rings show.
Game of Thrones, as you might imagine. Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
So you telling me they gonna smut out the Lord of the Rings? Is what you're telling me?
This is gonna be Lord of the Rings after dark.
Is any of that? I've never read the book, so I'm out here. But is there any kind of scenes like that in the book?
I would say the book is like the least horny thing I've ever read.
I think, in fact, I actually think it does the opposite. I think anyone that, maybe, feeling a certain way, they could read that and those feelings just evaporate. And they're also, I think the weird thing is they also, a lot of times when you see someone reading Lord of the Rings, it repels intimacy. Like,
oh, you're into that?
Come on,
I'm
man.
gonna get my high school boys reading this then, if that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Guys, what are we doing?
We're not going to do what we just accused Fox and Friends of doing. We're not going to level judgment on a show we haven't seen, right? We're going to be careful.
I'm not going to level.
It's a weird choice.
Tyler, I will not level a judgment, but I will continue to make jokes because sex in the Lord of the Rings is funny. It's just because it's
my precious.
I'm actually a little surprised about this though, because if this is like families read this book together. And so then it makes it uncomfortable and awkward that mom and dad are like, well, we actually can't watch this now. I know we read the book and it's like a classic, but now there's nudity.
Just imagine the first scene. We're in New Zealand.
Oh no.
The rolling hills of New Zealand coming.
Beautiful.
And then it pans up from the bottom and it's just a big orc booty on the screen. Like, just imagine that, dog. Like, that just, I'm going to watch it anyway just because I watch Game of Thrones so I can, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just not trying to see no orc and elf booty, bro. Like, that's just not the thing for me. I mean, that's just not it.
Well, you did go out with the sizzling hot list, Tyler.
Yeah.
That's good.
It took the entirety of us having that jingle for us to get something that was appropriate for it, but we got it.
Okay, play it, Clark, for the last time. That was
It's the high list.
Orc booty. Orc booty. Orc booty.
Oh, man. All right, thanks, Tyler. Stay tuned. Up next, Rick Warren joins us. You're listening to Shamir. The song is Other Side. Well, this episode is also brought to you by Bombas. Bombas makes the most comfortable socks in the history of feet. It's a true statement. They've reimagined every little detail of the socks we wear every day to make them way more comfortable. I wear them every day if I wear socks. They have a variety of styles to choose from. The material is amazing, and they go beyond the purpose of just keeping your feet cozy. For every pair of socks you purchase, Bombas donates a pair to someone in need. The generosity of Bombas customers has allowed them to donate over 34 million pairs of socks and counting through their nationwide network of over 3,000 giving partners. To those experiencing homelessness, these socks are a small comfort that make a big difference. You can give a pair when you buy a pair and get 20% off your first purchase right now because you're a Relevant Podcast listener. Go to bombas.com/relevant. That's BOMBAS.com/relevant to get 20% off your first purchase. One more time, bombas.com/relevant. Well, Rick Warren is the founder and senior pastor of one of the largest churches in the U.S., Saddleback in Southern California. He's an author. You might have heard of The Purpose-Driven Life. Mentor, spiritual leader in our generation. He's a longtime friend and mentor of me personally. Behind the scenes, Rick Warren is one of the best, one of the absolute best. We wanted to talk to him in this crazy season, navigating politics, COVID, racial justice. He brought the heat. Here is part of our conversation with Rick Warren. We are in an unprecedented political atmosphere right now. You and I have talked over the years about, we are staunchly pro-life, and that's from womb to tomb. And we are holistically pro-life, whole life. Exactly right. Yeah. You gave me that phrase. And that's like at Relevant, that's what we talk about. That this is what Jesus talked about, and we've put it into very clear kind of structure, and like, it's very difficult to be partisan when you kind of have that biblical aesthetic. Right now, it just seems like that kind of discussion of truly Christian worldview as it engages the political machine and kind of working across the aisle for common good and advocating is impossible. It is not a climate that this is even entertained. It's almost like the division has gotten worse and worse and greater. And I'm just wondering your thoughts entering this political season and this election. Yeah. There are a lot of Christians out there that we talk to that don't know what to do because they care deeply about pro-life issues, but they also define that differently. And they also look at character, and they look at division and hatred.
It's not the only issue out there.
Right. And they look at racial justice, and they look at other things. And
see, what I see is a lot of people only care about black people if they're in the womb. They don't care about black people once they're born. They only care about black people in the womb.
Wow.
And I'm going, no. You got to care about that little girl after she's born.
Right.
Okay. You got to care about, they're only worried about black children in the womb. And I'm going to go, no, that's a subtle racism, and you just need to own up to it. Okay, I actually think, it was, I think it was Einstein who said racism is the sin of white people. I actually disagree with him. I've been in 164 countries. I think it's the most common sin in the world. No matter where you go, the Northern Italians don't like the Southern Italians. This tribe doesn't like this tribe. And it's all about fear. That I feel like I have to put you down to build myself up. And because I don't feel good about me, I really don't want you feeling good about you. And it's all fear-based. And so to me, to make abortion trump every other issue, particularly when we have a clearly a society that is funding, or not funding, but what I'm saying, giving permission to racism. Okay, and in the debate, for instance, President Trump was asked, "Can you disavow white supremacy?" He wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you doing? Then you are tacitly approving it.
Right.
Okay, you're tacitly approving. If you won't, there's a difference between disavowal and even disapproval.
Right.
He said, "I disavow those guys." That's passive. Disapproval is they're wrong.
Right.
Okay, they're wrong. The main thing is two things. Christians today lack biblical discernment. They lack biblical discernment. So they're making decisions based on political values rather than biblical values. This is a real problem. This whole election, regardless who you vote for, has revealed that most Christians don't have a biblical worldview. They don't vote from a biblical worldview. They vote from a political worldview. And their belonging, their identity comes primarily from politics.
There was a study that came out yesterday of self-proclaimed evangelicals who are planning to vote in this election. Yeah. Uh-huh. And when they asked the primary issues that they're voting on, it was shocking. 11% said pro-life issues.
Wow.
This is stated evangelicals who were voting in this election, only 11% were voting pro-life. The vast majority, was 26%, said economic issues.
Really?
Yeah. And others, military and all that, were kind of peppered in. But 11%. I always thought it was like an 80% thing, and so it's like, now it's just, you're right. It's just now partisan. It's just like,
it's partisan. And it's my identity is tied to, see, the Christian nationalism thing. Here's the problem. If somebody says, is Jesus right wing or left wing? Jesus said, I'm not either wing. Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. If it were of this world, my servants would fight. Okay, my servants would fight. But I'm not having them fight because this is not the battle we're in. Okay, my kingdom is not of this world. I'm going to actually do a message. Who knows what's going to happen after the election? It may not even be decided for weeks or whatever. It could be drawn out and it could be challenged on either side, blah, blah, blah. So I've already planned the week after the election, I'm going to do a message or we'll finish, James, called the Unshakable Kingdom. And the bottom line, that's a phrase out of Hebrews, where he says, we have an unshakable kingdom, that my kingdom is not of this world. Regardless of whoever is in power, every dictator dies, every president gets out of office, the church goes on. And so we have an unshakable kingdom that we are called to. What we're called to do has no bearing on who gets elected. I've said many times, it's not who we put in the White House, it's who we put on the cross that really is our savior. No politician's going to save us. Right. They never will. And in many ways, it's kind of, which hypocrite do you want to vote for?
I feel like so many Christians are scared if the other side wins. We will lose our freedom. We will lose our right to this or that, whatever. Right. And it's like, I'm trying to find where Jesus talked about protect your rights. Yeah. He always talked about you're going to be persecuted. You're going to be hated,
Exactly. Well, and here's the other thing too. How did a nation that's as free as America is become a nation where everybody, literally every single person, thinks they're a victim? Okay.
That's interesting.
The left thinks they're victims. Okay. Yeah. White supremacists think they're victims. The Christian right think they're victims. Socialists think they're victims. Name one group that doesn't think they're a victim. How in the world did we get in the freest country in the world and all of a sudden everybody thinks they're being victimized?
So it's easy for a lot of our audience just to say both sides are wrong. It's all corrupt. Yeah. What does it matter? I don't care. I'm heavenly minded, so I'm not going to engage it. Right. But I don't feel like that's the answer either. What words of advice would you give to a 25-year-old trying to navigate these political waters?
Well, the first thing is to realize that everything is more complex than politics makes it to be. Politics makes everything to be this or that, A or B. There's no A to Z. Okay. And everything, if you listen to in California, we have propositions that people vote on. If you listen to these laws on TV, you go, yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to vote that way. The next one, the ad comes on, I go, no, I'm not going to vote that way. Because it's the way they're framing it, which is telling me, okay, there's a lot more complexity here. And you have to decide what's the higher value on each issue. And that means goes back to being discerning, being wise, knowing scripture and knowing what does God value. Okay. What does God value? Well, I'll tell you one thing. There are over 2,000 verses in the Bible about the poor. How did I go through Christian college, 2 Christian seminaries, get an earned doctorate without ever hearing anything about the poor except we ought to give to them? Right. Nothing about how do you help the poor get out of poverty, things like that. Justice. Look up how many times the word justice used in the Bible. And yet we don't want to use that word. Liberty and justice for all. So my big plea really is become more discerning.
my hero, Rick Warren. There's a lot more to that conversation, and you will be able to experience it in the November issue of Relevant. Plus, we're going to be doing some other stuff on the site. We covered a lot. There's a lot more. You don't want to miss it.
Give me some time alone. I'll fire where I belong, like the sun and the sun. I know that I am strong. I need a place to breathe. I need somewhere to run. I need to buy a gun so I can set it up.
You're listening to Jimmy Somewhere featuring Casey Hill. Song is Jesus. Well, thank you to Rick Warren for joining us. There are so many places you can engage the content that Rick puts out, but one of them is on Instagram. You can follow him at Pastor Rick Warren. Hey, while you're online following people and checking out Rick Warren's amazing content, head over to relevantmagazine.com. It's all new. We keep launching new stuff. In fact, like I told you earlier, we just this week launched Relevant News. Not only it's kind of an evolution of Relevant Daily, the audio podcast. We're still doing an audio podcast, but we are now in video as well. So check out Relevant News and other video content we'll be doing over at relevantmagazine.com, and check out the current September-October issue of Relevant Magazine. Maverick City Music's on the cover, the Avett Brothers, Jordan Lee Dooley. There's a lot of great content over there. relevantmagazine.com. On that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Jamie Ivey.
And I'm Derek Miner.
We will see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
It's the hot list sizzling.
Relevant Podcast Network.